Okay, so I just did this. मतलब it's just मतलब एक क्या बोलते हैं ट्रायल एंड एरर अटेम्प्ट एक आइडिया जो मैं ट्राई कर रही हूँ. So I collected doubts like this and then I copy pasted them to my like Claude. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's see. उसके बाद मतलब मैंने थोड़ी सी उसमें से जो मुझे डाउट्स नहीं थे वो मैंने कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं किए, सो जो क्लियर हो गए थे. एनीवे सो अब 7 टॉपिक्स ऑलरेडी कवर हो गए हैं, सो आई वाज थिंकिंग अब रिवीजन कर लेनी चाहिए शायद एक बार, क्योंकि मैं चीज़ें भूल रही थी. सो इट्स द डाउट क्लियरिंग सेशन, उसके बाद थोड़ा सा रिवीजन कर सकते हैं हम. ओके सो फर्स्ट द बिग फिलॉसफी क्वेश्चंस. Is a utopian world possible where everyone's needs are met? Beautiful question first. Economically, needs are actually finite, like food, water, shelter, healthcare, education, not unlimited. But here's the problem: even if resources are enough for everyone's need, who decides who gets what? Someone must organize distribution. That organization requires power. Power gets corrupted. Distribution becomes unfair again. Exactly. Basically, this is the problem. Corrupt people in power. Corrupt people getting into the position of power, I guess. Every utopian experiment in history, Soviet Union, communes, cooperatives, eventually collapsed because of human incentive problems. Economics assumes humans are self interested. They work harder for personal reward than collective good. This is why pure communism failed and pure capitalism creates inequality. Most countries use mixed economy, market for efficiency, and government for equity. India is a mixed economy. Okay, so second is who decides prices? Are current prices just natural consequences? This is the question that started all of economics. Short answer: nobody and everybody simultaneously. Uh, Ajib. In a free market, millions of buyers decide what to pay, plus millions of sellers deciding what to charge. Price emerges naturally from their interaction. No single person sets the price of onion, petrol, or iPhones. It emerges from collective decisions. This is called price discovery, market's magical ability to find the right price through competition. But is it purely natural? No. Prices are distorted by monopoly powers, like one seller can charge what they want. Government interventions, MSP for farmers, price caps on medicines, information asymmetry, seller knows more than buyer, charges more. Taxes. GST adds to price artificially. Subsidies. Government reduces price artificially. So current prices are partially natural market forces, partially human or political decisions. Your skepticism is economically valid. Is poverty or wealth natural or engineered? Both. And this is genuinely debated by economists. Natural part: different skills, talents, efforts lead to different incomes. Geography matters. Coastal areas naturally trade more, develop faster. First mover advantage: whoever industrialized first got head start. Engineered part: colonization deliberately extracted wealth from poor countries to rich ones. Tax systems often favor capital owners over wage workers. Education access determines lifetime earnings, and the access is unequal. Inherited wealth compounds across generations. Thomas Piketty, famous economist, showed mathematically that return on capital Rich people's wealth grows faster than economic growth, everyone else's income. So, inequality is structurally built into capitalism unless governments intervene through taxation. This is advanced RBI essay material. I think government should intervene through taxation, but matlab rich people don't pay that much tax as they should. Anyways, demand equals willingness plus ability to buy, but only rich people have that. Perfectly observed. You have just independently discovered what economists call effective demand or latent demand. Effective demand is backed by purchasing power, counts, and market. Latent demand is desire without money, invisible market. 1 billion Indians want good health care. Only 200 million can afford private healthcare. Market only sees 200 million, builds hospital for 200 million. 800 million remain unsolved. This is exactly why markets alone can't provide public goods. Government must step in for education, healthcare, infrastructure. Market only serves effective demand, not human need. This is fundamental argument for welfare state and government spending. Theme 2 is demand, supply, and elastic dots. Let's see. Is there a proportionality constant between price and demand? Yes, that's literally price elasticity of demand. Elasticity is proportionality constant. It tells you exactly how much demand changes per unit change in price. But what is this? Elasticity of demand equals 2 means demand changes twice as much as price. Elasticity of demand equals zero point 0.5 means demand changes half as much as price. Basically, it's different for different products, I guess. That is why there is no single constant. It's not one fixed constant for all goods. Every good has its own elasticity. That's the whole point. Next is, does market reach perfect equality or just move towards balance? Just move towards balance, never perfect equality. Perfect equilibrium is a theoretical concept useful for understanding direction of movement, not a real destination. Real markets are always slightly above or below equilibrium because new information keeps changing demand and supply. Prices take time to adjust. Human psychology causes overshooting. What's this? Anyways, think of equilibrium like sea level. Waves constantly disturb it, but overall it stays around the same level. Perfect stillness never happens. मतलब कुछ ना कुछ changes तो होते रहते हैं बाहर से. For example, supply कम पड़ जाना या फिर all these things. That is why. Next is unitary elastic. Is it really just theoretical? Yes, almost entirely theoretical. In real life, elasticity of demand equals exactly 1.0 almost never happens. It's used in economics whatever, because it's boundary between elastic and inelastic. Mathematical models need a midpoint. Some tax calculation use it. Don't stress about unitary elastic, just know it exists as a concept and where it sits on the scale. Exam will test elastic versus inelastic more than unitary. Does perfectly elastic demand actually happen in real world? Almost in commodity markets. Okay. Wheat selling on commodity exchange, thousands of identical sellers. Any one seller tries to charge rupee one more than the market price, zero buyers instantly. तो एक भी रुपया उसने ज़्यादा चार्ज किया तो उससे कोई ख़रीदेगा ही नहीं, क्योंकि लोगों के पास बहुत सारे लोग हैं ख़रीदने, मतलब शॉप से जाने के लिए सेम प्राइस पे. But truly perfect elastic demand? No, always some friction. Again, theoretical concept describing a direction, not a perfect real world situation. Next is supply elasticity confusion. Medicines inelastic demand, but what about supply? Great confusion to have. Demand and supply elasticity are completely independent. Medicine demand is inelastic. Patients need it regardless of price. Supply also relatively inelastic. Takes years to build. Pharma factories get regulatory approvals. Vegetables demand is inelastic. People need food. Supply very inelastic. Short term can't grow crops overnight, but elastic long term. Farmers can switch crop next season. Key insight: supply elasticity is mostly about time. Short term, inelastic, can't change production instantly. Long term, more elastic, can adjust factories, farms, capacity. This is why price shocks are sharp short term but settle long term. Nice. Okay, so market structure doubts. Monopolistic competition versus oligopoly, still confused. Simple separator, one question: how many sellers? Monopolistic में hundreds and thousands of sellers, and oligopoly में only 3 to 5 big ones. I'm sorry. Okay, so second question: do they watch each other obsessively? Monopolistic number is 500, like 500 restaurants don't track each other daily. They build their unique brand or unique identity or something like that. Oligopoly, yes. Airtel watches every geo move daily. Memory trick is oligo is few. Oligo means few. And oligopoly is few sellers. If you can name all major players in one hand, oligopoly. Okay, fine, choda. Next is product differentiation. Is brand value real or fake illusion? Both. And economists debate this. A real differentiation. iPhone generally has better software ecosystem. Some restaurants generally have better chefs. Mercedes generally has better engineering. Manufactured fake differentiation, like Fair and Lovely selling fairness, psychological manipulation, designer water, same water, fancy bottle. Many luxury brands paying for a logo, not quality. Economists call fake differentiation advertising created value. It's real in the sense that people generally feel better using it, but it's manufactured demand, not natural need. This is why regulators watch advertising claims carefully. Next is, was Geo's aggressive pricing ethical? Why did CCI allow it? Your ethical instinct is correct, and CCI actually investigated why CCI initially allowed it. Free market principles, lower prices benefit. Free market principles, lower prices benefit consumers. Geo wasn't technically below cost, they claimed. What? Geo wasn't technically below cost? I don't know. Competition law allows aggressive pricing if it's not predatory. What do you mean? मुझे नहीं समझ आया. What is predatory pricing? Sell below cost deliberately, kill all competitors, become monopoly, then raise prices massively. Consumers suffer long term. The debate: short term, consumers benefited enormously. Free calls, cheap data. Long term, Vodafone collapsed. VI struggling. Only three players left. Now Airtel and Jio raising prices. Consumers starting to pay more. This is exactly the Jio story playing out. Predatory pricing concern become real. CCI is watching current Jio Airtel duopoly carefully. Great phase 2 as example: short term consumer gain versus long term competition loss. Okay, so next is, why is cartel not self explanatory? You're right, it's not. It comes from Italian carta, meaning paper or agreement. Simple definition to memorize: cartel is secret illegal club of competitors who agree to fix prices together. OPEC is a legal cartel, countries, not companies. Okay. Cement companies fixing prices, illegal cartel, both do the same thing. Coordinate to keep prices high. Hmm. Okay, so inflation doubts. Why don't prices just settle at equilibrium instead of raising continuously? Because equilibrium itself keeps moving. Population grows every year, demand grows every year. Money supply grows every year, spending grows every year. Supply can't always keep up perfectly. Prices keep getting pulled up continuously. Equilibrium is not a fixed point, it's a moving target. As long as demand grows faster than supply, prices trend upward. Mild inflation is normal. Is it because of like the population increasing only? So if we control population, will it settle? WPI, is it at wholesale buyer level or factory level? Factory gate level before it reaches wholesale buyer. So factory produces goods, WPI measured here. Wholesale buys adds margin, retailer buys adds margin, you buy CPI measured here. A wholesaler person like buys at WPI, is it? What factory charges wholesaler? Okay. CPI equals what shop charges you. Gap between them equals middleman margins plus transport plus taxes. If WPI rises today, after 2 to 3 months, those costs reach you. CPI rises. That's why WPI predicts future CPI. Next is wage price spiral. How does it work nationally? Imagine it like a WhatsApp rumor spreading. Auto driver charges more because petrol costly, your commute costs more, you demand salary hike from boss raises product prices to cover salary, auto drivers grocery bill rises, auto driver charges more again. Multiply this across 50 crore workers simultaneously. That's national wage price spiral. Why only partially fixable by RBI? RBI can make borrowing expensive, slow demand, cool prices somewhat, but RBI cannot stop workers from demanding higher wages. Only sustained low inflation over time breaks the spiral. Workers stop expecting price rises, stop demanding the wage hikes, spiral slows. Cost push inflation. Do companies actually suffer or just pass costs to consumers? Depends on market structures. Monopoly or oligopoly, Jio Airtel cement companies easily pass all costs to consumers, may even use cost increase as excuse to raise prices more than needed. They profit from cost push inflation. Perfect competition. Small farmers or street vendors cannot pass cost easily. Competitors will undercut. They absorb losses. Many go bankrupt during cost push inflation. This is why farmers suffer most during input cost inflation. So market power determines who bears the pain of cost push inflation. Market power determines who bears the pain of cost push inflation. Powerful companies pass it on. Weak producers absorb it because otherwise consumers wouldn't buy from them, right? There is competition. Consumers pay it regardless. Poor consumers suffer most because food or energy are inelastic necessities. Next is structural inflation, stupid inflation. Is it political? 100% political, and your instinct is completely correct. Cold storage fixes food inflation. Every economist knows this since 1950s. Cost of fixing is 50,000 crore. Benefit is stable food prices for 1.4 billion people. Why not done? Because cold storage contracts go to politically connected companies. Middlemen who profit from supply chain inefficiency funds politicians. Quick political wins like loan waivers more popular than long term fixes infrastructure. This is called political economy, where political incentives prevent economically obvious solutions. India's food inflation is 70% a political problem dressed as an economic one. Writing this nuance in page 2, examiner's delight. Okay, so RBI and banking doubts. Full form of RBI is Reserve Bank of India, established in 1935, nationalized in 1949, headquartered in Mumbai. Okay. How do RBI and government decide which tool, how strong, and for how long? Great process question. RBI's process. Monetary Policy Committee MPC meets every 2 months. 6 members, 3 from RBI and 3 appointed by government. They look at current inflation, GDP growth, global oil prices, rupee value, credit growth, vote on repo rate decision, majority wins. Governor has casting vote if tied. What does it mean, governor has casting vote if tied? Okay, so government's process. Finance Ministry monitors fiscal deficit monthly. Budget announced once a year. Emergency spending decisions through Parliament. How they coordinate regular meetings between Finance Ministry and RBI Governor. RBI Governor presents to parliamentary committees formal consultations on inflation target every 5 years. They don't always agree. Famous conflict 2018. Government wanted RBI to cut rates to boost growth before elections. RBI Governor Urjit Patel refused, eventually resigned. Shows RBI's independence is real but under pressure. This tension is great face to essay content. Okay, GDP doubts. Why two measures, GDP and GNP? What's the use? Different questions need different answers. GDP answer. How productive is this country's territory? Used for comparing countries, measuring domestic economic activity. India's GDP tells us how much is produced inside India. GNP answers how wealthy are this country's people. Used for understanding citizen welfare. India's GNP includes Indian IT workers' salaries in USA. Why both matter for India specifically? India's GDP is large, lots of foreign companies producing here, and India's GNP is slightly lower. Foreign companies take profit home. Gap is profit outflow to foreign investors. So foreigners are profiting more in this. Um, Maybe. Okay, for Kerala specifically, massive remittance from Gulf workers. Kerala's contribution to India's GNP is higher than its GDP contribution. That's why Kerala has high HDI despite moderate GDP. Oh, okay. गल्फ वर्कर्स मे बी अरब कंट्रीज़ में केरला के लोग काम कर रहे हैं maybe. Okay, why three methods to calculate GDP if they give same answers? Different methods catch different errors, like measuring rooms as area, length, time, width, one measurement, count floor tiles, another measurement. Both should give same answer. If they don't, measurement error somewhere. Same with GDP. If expenditure method shows 300 lakh crore but income method shows 280 lakh crore, 20 lakh crore uncounted black money in formal economy. Okay, so this is how they calculate black money. और इस मतलब इसमें भी तो इनफॉर्मल इकोनॉमी भी तो काउंट हो जा रही है सो आई डोंट नो इंडिया यूजेस ऑल थ्री स्पेसिफिकली टू एस्टिमेट द साइज ऑफ ब्लैक इकोनॉमी द गैप बिटवीन मेथड्स equals a rough estimate of informal or unreported economic activity. That's the real use of multiple methods. This was really nice, actually. Okay. Agriculture was dominant, now services. How did this shift happen? Classic economic development patterns happen to every country. Stage 1, poor country, everyone farms, primary sector dominant. India pre 1947. Stage 2 is developing countries, manufacturing grows, secondary sector rises. India in 1950s to 1980s. Stage 3 is developed or developing countries, services dominate, tertiary sector largest. India post 1991. So, okay, so India is near being developed. Okay, या फिर okay, छोड़ो. USA, UK, Japan all followed same path. India jumped somewhat from stage 1 to stage 3 without strong stage 2. This is exactly what I was thinking. बिकॉज मैंने नहीं देखा इतने सारे फैक्ट्रीज इंडिया में जितनी मतलब बाकी कंट्रीज़ में देखने को मिलती है. दैट्स वाई इंडिया हैज़ सर्विसेज डोमिनेटेड GDP but still 45% of population is in agriculture. This mismatch is India's core economic challenge and a guaranteed asset topic. Is GDP a growth a narrative? Propaganda hiding real inequality? Partially, yes, and mainstream economists now agree with you. In 2019, even the IMF and World Bank admitted GDP is insufficient and started pushing for inequality adjusted measures. The honest picture India GDP grows 7%, top 10% captures 55% of that growth, bottom 50% capture 13% of growth. Poor person's real income grew maybe 2 to 3%, but headline says India growing at 7%. This is called exclusive growth, growth that excludes the majority. Opposite, inclusive growth. RBI Grade B's favorite essay topic. Every budget, every RBI report talks about inclusive growth. Every budget, every RBI report talks about inclusive growth. Write about this distinction in every relevant essay. Is there an index measuring natural capital destruction? Yes, and you are ahead of the curve for knowing to ask. For knowing to ask. Green GDP. Adjust GDP for environmental degradation. Subtracts cost of pollution, deforestation, resource depletion. India's green GDP is significantly lower than regular GDP. Genuine Progress Indicator (GPI) includes social and environmental factors. Natural Capital Accounting UN framework to value nature in economic terms. India is slowly moving towards natural capital accounting. This is cutting edge policy. Writing about it in phase 2 essay. Impressive. Theme 7 Fiscal Policy Doubts. मैं ये सब भूल जाऊँगी यार, मुझे इसके फ्लैश कार्ड्स बनाने चाहिए थे, बट मे बी नॉट नाउ, not right now. Fiscal policy doubts. Why GST when businesses already pay corporate tax and people pay income tax? Because they tax different things. Tax income tax, what it takes your earnings. Corporate tax is for company's profit, and GST is transaction spending. नहीं समझ आया मुझे. इंडिविजुअल कंपनी पेज, कंज्यूमर पेज। ट्रांजैक्शन मतलब जो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन और ये सब, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, बैंकिंग और ये सब, इसके ऊपर टैक्स। Simple example: biscuit company earns 100 rupees profit, pays corporate tax on profit. You earn 50,000 salary, pays income tax on earning. You buy biscuits for 20 rupees, pays GST on purchase. Three different events, three different taxes. Why does government need all three? Income tax misses people who earn in cash. Informal economy. Corporate tax: companies use loopholes to reduce profit on paper. GST catches every transaction harder to evade. Together, they create multiple nets to catch tax revenue. Recession versus depression versus deflation. What's the difference? Recession is GDP falls for 2 plus consecutive quarters. मतलब 8 महीने से ज़्यादा टाइम के लिए GDP फॉल इज़ रिसेशन. मंथ्स टू 1 to 2 years. एग्जाम्पल इंडिया 2020 कोविड क्वार्टर रिसेशन था. ओके. डिप्रेशन इज सीवियर प्रोलॉन्ग्ड रिसेशन, मैसिव अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. ईयर्स: USA Great Depression 1929 to 1939, a decade basically. Deflation: prices falling continuously months to years, like Japan 1990s to 2010s. But deflation and depression sound similar. नहीं इसमें months है, 2 years. But this is almost 2 decades also, so I don't know, I'm not sure. Depression usually comes with deflation. Japan had recession plus deflation simultaneously. Okay. USA 1929 had depression plus deflation plus bank failures. Simple memory. Recession bad, depression very bad. Deflation is a dangerous spiral. Okay. Structural trust: politics blocking economic solutions. This is political economy, one of the most important fields. Simple framework for understanding India. Economically correct solution exists. Implementation requires political will. Political will requires votes. Votes require short-term visible benefits. Long-term structural fixes are invisible and slow. Politicians choose loan waivers over cold shortage. Problems persist. Economists frustrated. You frustrated. Does democracy failure? Not completely. Democracy did produce GST reforms, Aadhaar, UPI, Jan Dhan. These were hard structural reforms that succeeded. But food supply chains, land reforms, labor reforms remain stuck because they threaten power interest groups. For phase 2 essay, this nuance is called: while India has achieved significant structural reform in digital infrastructure and taxation, supply side agricultural reforms and remain constrained by political economy considerations, perpetuating structural inflation despite available solutions. Quick fire remaining terms. Okay. Overheating economy, growing so fast that inflation becomes dangerous, like a car engine at this. Economy growing too fast. Okay, मतलब ढेर सारे लोग are earning a lot of money, but supply can't keep up with the growth. Interest rate equals price of money. When you borrow money, you pay for using it. Debt payment equals interest equals price of money. But the price of money keeps changing too, right? Money and price are different because money is the thing being rented. Interest is the rent. GNP formula used mainly for measuring citizen welfare and remittance dependent economies like Kerala, Philippines, Mexico, where citizens earn heavily abroad. Okay, so 30 plus doubts all cleared, and honestly, the skepticism about GDP, market, political economy, inequality, that's not ignorance. Okay, so we completed this doubt clearing session. We would start from day 8 now.